What's up guys, welcome back to Daniel Talks Football right here on YouTube. I am Daniel and we are back with another video. In this video we're going to be doing my updated Premier League predictions. We made some initial Premier League predictions at the start of the season, and now assuming the World Cup is over we can revisit those and possibly make a couple of better ones. Obviously these will not be the official Premier League predictions as they were the ones at the start of the season. However, it's nice to give your opinion again on the league and to see where everybody is going to end up. Before we do get into the video, please make sure to like the video, comment down below, and also subscribe to the channel. Go over and follow the Instagram and the TikTok Daniel Talks Football on both. Right, in 20th place, initially I said it would be Bournemouth. I'm gonna say it's gonna be Bournemouth again. Look, they're not doing badly in the league at the moment. They're what, 13th, 14th, I think? But they've got the most goals conceded in the league. And it's still a poor squad. Even if they are playing fairly well, they picked up a couple of good results. They've conceded the most goals in the league. They've got new American owners in, and that could possibly help to change things. But I'm going to stick with it. Bournemouth, I'm predicting you to finish 20th. In 19th... I initially said Fulham would finish 19th, and we'll get to them later. However, I'm now going to change that to Southampton. Now, for me, Jones isn't good enough. I just really do not think that Jones is a good enough manager. I don't think there's enough experience within the squad. They're currently bottom. I said they'd finish 18th initially, so I bumped them down one place from where I initially said they would finish. I think they're going to finish 19th. I do think the Saints are going to be going down. In 18th place, I initially predicted Southampton. However, I'm going to change that to Nottingham Forest. Now, I initially said that they'd beat the drop in 17th. However, I just don't think this squad has gelled enough. As expected, we knew they wouldn't gel, or at least we thought they wouldn't gel. Some thought Cooper might be able to work some magic, but his job was under threat before he got that new contract. I think Cooper will take them down and they'll rebuild in the Championship, but I can't see Forest staying up for me. I really do feel like they are going to be heading back down to the Championship where they came from. I can't see them beating the drop. As I say, I initially said 17th, but now Fulham have performed exceptionally well. There's got to be another team that have gone in there, and it's kind of just bumped both Southampton and Forest down one. So for me, the Reds, they're off back to the Championship. In 17th, just staying up, is Everton. Now, initially I said that they would finish 15th. They are currently 17th, so I don't think they're going to move. Lampard has been playing some very, very boring football with the Toffees. They're not good enough going forward. However, I do feel like that their defence could possibly keep them up. They've got some really good defenders in there. Another centre-back would possibly help them. I feel like they do need some more goals on that side. But to be honest, the centre-back is probably the key position because one striker won't change that attack. Mulpie possibly could score a couple of goals, but if they could keep their defence nice and compact, then that's their chance of staying up. So Lampard will probably move on at the end of the season, I think, especially if they do have this kind of finish, but I think he will just keep them up. In 16th, I have Leeds. Now, I initially said that they'd finish 14th. They're currently 15th. Now, I backed Marsh at the start of the season. I said that they'd finish 14th, and obviously currently 15th. I thought that he would do well, and he's done alright. Look, it's taken time, and he's had some poor performances, he's had some good performances, but it's taken time, and he's getting there. I think they will stay up. They do need some more goals on that side. Patrick Bamford has looked awful all season long, so I do feel like possibly a striker in January, if they could get that sorted, that would really, really help them and possibly help to get even further up the league than this 16th position. However, I think 16th would be fair. I think Leeds fans would probably take that after last season's stresses under Bielsa. 16th with Marsh, you can then rebuild on that in the summer and try and get some more American blood in there. Try and continue to build upon that 16th position. Get some new players in and freshen the squad up again. In 15th, I have Wolves. Now, Lopetegui needs to change things, and he needs to change things fast. Wolves have got some really good players, however they are currently 18th, initially 11th. Cunha coming in could help to change that tide. If not, then I feel for them. Obviously, initially I did put them in 11th. Currently, obviously, down there in 18th position. I think Cunha will be the big plus to this. If he can come in, if he can change the game like some were expecting him to, then they could absolutely do more than 15th. Yeah, if not, then I really do fear for them. They need more goals, and Cunha will help with that. They've spent 50 million on him, an obligation to buy. I don't know if that's got permutations on it, things like if they stay in the league. But if not, and they are going to be buying him for 50 million no matter what, then you don't want Matheus Cunha in the Championship. So he needs to score the goals and keep them up. As I say, fewest goals in the league for Wolves. In 14th, we have Brentford. Now, I initially said that they'd finish 16th. They're currently 10th. Why the big drop-off? For me, it's Ivan Toney. We don't know what's going to happen with Toney. If he stays around the squad and if he stays playing, if he doesn't get banned, then they could finish higher than 10th. I really do think they could. Yeah, if not, then if he does get banned, then I'd genuinely fear relegation for them. So, I've gone in the middle. I've middled it. There's not really much more to say. It all depends on Ivan Toney for me. If he does get banned, could they possibly bring in a £40 million striker in January and still propel themselves up? Quite possibly, but it's not something I can see Brentford doing. It all depends on that Toney ban for me. So yeah, I'm going to go Toney. Not Toney to finish 14th, but Brentford to go 14th. In 13th, we have Crystal Palace. Now, initially, I said that they'd finish in 12th. They're currently 11th. They've got a good squad and a good young manager in Vieira. I could have probably put them a little bit higher, but I've gone with 13th in the end. They're in that bracket from sort of Brentford to maybe Villa or even Brighton in 8th or 9th. They could be anywhere between that, really. It depends how the second half of the season goes. It depends how people like Elise and Eze play. I like Palace. I think they're a good side. 13th. I think for Vieira's second season, it's another stable season. It keeps them there. Possibly if they could add a couple of more young, exciting players next summer, they could start to push for Europe. In 12th, we have Leicester, my team. Super rough start to the season. However, they did rebound. And they were playing some really, really good football before the break. Obviously, they came back with that 3-0 loss to Newcastle. So it's going to be interesting to see how they get on in the next few games. They've got Liverpool up next, which will be a really, really tough test. A Liverpool side, they've just signed Cody Gakpo. However, he will obviously not be available for that game. I could have, again, gone Leicester further up or further down. They're within that bracket of teams that could sort of finish anywhere within mid-table. I think they will be perfectly fine in mid-table. I can't see them pushing on beyond that. But no, yes, I'll go Leicester City in 12th. In 11th, we have gone for West Ham United. Now, I initially predicted them to finish 7th. They're currently 16th. Moyes could be going, that squad's in turmoil, but I do feel like they could bounce back a little because there's a lot of good talent within that squad. They signed Paqueta in the summer. This was a player that I was raving about and hasn't particularly shown what he can do for West Ham yet. However, with Brazil, he looked really, really good. So I look at this West Ham side and I go, I think they'll rebound. If that's with Moyes or if that's without Moyes, we'll have to wait and see. If they stick with Moyes, I'll possibly fear for it a little bit more. I would, at this moment, still stick with Moyes, but I could see them, if they did, I could see things going poorly. It's a tough decision with what to do with Moyes, because we've seen what's happened with West Ham in the past. Yeah, relegation isn't an issue for me with this side. I think they will be perfectly fine. I've put them in 11th. If Moyes goes, if they get in a top manager, then obviously that could go higher. However, if they were to lose Moyes and bring in a poor manager, then relegation could be a fear. But no, I think they'll be perfectly fine, and I'll put them in 11th place. In 10th place, we've got Fulham. Now, obviously, initially I put them in 19th in the first prediction video. They're currently 8th. The Cottagers, Fulham fans, I'm sorry. There's the first apology of the video, and I need to get it out of the way. They've been really, really good, and I think Mitrovic has been excellent. This was a player that we sort of went into the season not knowing how good he would be. That was something that I said. I didn't think he was going to be good enough. I thought they needed to bring in another striker. I think they'll drop off a little bit from that 8th position. I don't think they'll push up towards Europe. But 10th is an excellent finish for this Fulham side. I could see them possibly dropping a little bit lower. I think they have played really, really well for that first half of the season, and now the momentum's obviously gone from that. They've got to rebuild and work up to that again. So, even if they would finish 12th or 13th, I still think that would be a really, really good finish. But yes, I've put Fulham and Marco Silva's Fulham in 10th. I'm sorry, Fulham fans. In 9th, I've put Aston Villa, and this is all down to Unai Emery. I think he is the perfect replacement for Steven Gerrard. It all depends on how they recruit in January, to be fair. they've got a good squad in places, however other places that squad really does need to be freshened up. I like parts of it just aren't good enough. So it depends on how they recruit in Jan. If they recruit well, could easily push for Conference League. If not, then they could be 13th, 14th. However, Unai Emery is a really, really good manager, a really good appointment. So I'll put Aston Villa into 9th. In 8th we have Brighton. They've been truly exceptional under De Zerbi so far, and if they can bring in a striker in January, then they'll easily push for Europe. Dennis Undav hasn't particularly worked out as we all expected him to. I think Newcastle will steal all the thunder for these underdog sides. It feels weird calling Newcastle an underdog with all that money, but obviously they haven't spent it yet. I usually like to support the underdog, but I can't really support Newcastle here. But Brighton have been really, really good, even with all that, obviously, even with Newcastle stealing all the thunder and stealing all the media limelight. Brighton have been good, and I think they'll end up finishing in 8th, just outside of European football. In which 7th position, we have the first member of the Big Six. It's Chelsea. Now, I have to give massive credit to a good friend of mine, Charlie, who said before the season started, Chelsea will not finish in the top 6. At that point, I laughed at him. I went, there's no way Chelsea don't finish in the top 6. They've got Thomas Tuchel in charge. Chelsea, I apologise to you personally. Chelsea will finish in the top 6. Chelsea won't finish in the top 6. They're currently 9th. I put them 4th initially. Obviously, who knows how ruthless Bodie will be. But I really don't think Potter will remain for more than a couple of months. Even if he has said he's got his full backing. The clock is ticking for Potter. And I think it's going to be a poor season for Chelsea. I'm putting them in 7th. And Chaz, fair play. If you could give me the lottery numbers for next week, that would be great. Because clearly you have something about you. In 6th, we have Spurs. This is all down to Antonio Conte. I think his contract expiring at the end of the season is a big negative to the Spurs side. It looks like he won't renew. And if he doesn't, then Spurs will drop off, possibly with his interest being elsewhere. The attack will carry the side through with people like Kane, Son, Richarlison, Kulusevski even. But I think Conte's contract expiring, it's just going to mean that this isn't going to be an excellent end to the season for Spurs. They'll get 6th. Hopefully they'll bring in Poch back in the summer. And then they'll be able to rebuild with him back at the helm. But I don't think Conte will renew. And I think that could really, really harm this Spurs side. In 5th, we have Newcastle United. They've had an excellent start to the season. I initially put them 8th, but they are obviously currently 2nd. The signings have really, really come off. People like Bruno Guimaraes last January. Even the signings from the summer. Not Dan Burney, was last January again. Sven Botman, Nick Pope, Isaac. Hasn't even he's been injured half the time, but still, they seem to be doing really well. There's a good feel around that club, and Eddie Howe's an excellent manager. The feel around the club and how has really elevated these players. These players are not, Champions League level players. Yet they're currently 2nd. As of recording. I'm recording this on the 27th during the day, so things may have changed by the time this goes out on the 29th. I think the lack of its squad, because they don't have a big squad, and also the lack of experience of being in these kind of positions within that squad, it may make them fall away a little, but I still think they've had an excellent season, and I think Newcastle fans will take 5th, and they'll be happy with their European tour. In 4th, we have Manchester United. Now, they are currently 5th, and I initially said that they'd finish 6th. Ten Hag has got them playing some really, really good stuff, and I think the fact that they don't have Cristiano Ronaldo, I really do actually think it will help them. It hurts me to say that kind of thing, so obviously Ronaldo has been an excellent player in the past, but now he seems to be a burden for the sides he goes to. So having no Ronaldo, it might mean that it's a little bit easier for Ten Hag to manage that squad. And I think Manchester United, I think they'll get Champions League football, and it'll be interesting to see what they do in the summer with a massive rebuilding job there, because there's a lot of players that want out. In 3rd, we have Liverpool. Now, obviously, they're currently 6th, but I think Cody Gakpo will help massively. Klopp signed that new deal, so he is obviously committed to the project, and I believe a comeback is on for this Liverpool side. They look a little bit better. I think they're going to be fine. As I say, I think 3rd for Liverpool. And yeah, I think they will get Champions League football. I don't think there's much to worry about. A front three of, Gakpo, Firmino and Salah, say, could finish out the season for them. You've got them people like Diaz and Nunez to come off the bench when Diaz is fit, obviously, again. That's a good front three. So I think Liverpool will get third, and I think they'll be fine. In second place, we have Arsenal. Now, obviously, no Jesus is a massive miss for the Gunners. I did have them fifth initially, though, so fair play to Arsenal. You've really surprised me. They're still topped by a whopping 7 points as of recording, but I do just wonder if playing in the Europa League, it might take it out of them a little. That squad isn't the biggest squad, but who knows? Arteta's whipping up a storm at Arsenal, and it wouldn't surprise me if they did push on to win the title. However, I don't think they will, because Man City, Pep Guardiola and Erling Haaland. Initially had them first, they're currently third, 8 points off the top with a game in hand as of recording. But with arrested Haaland and Arsenal having no Jesus, I really do back City. Arrested Haaland and Alvarez coming off the World Cup, who was exceptional for Argentina. I think this is City's year again. So, sorry Arsenal fans, don't hate me too much, but I just think City will win it. Who do you think will win the Premier League title though? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll catch you all again in the next one. See ya!